Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Bariatric Athlete, starring, well, none other than me, Randy Townley. So, how you guys doing? Glad to have you here. I'm really glad that you were able to participate. And what I want to do, first of all, is kind of give you a little bit of rundown of a little bit of the history of me. Because, after all, this show is really all about me, right? So I'm going to show some pictures here so that way you get a sense of who I was and kind of give you a sense of what kind of obstacles I had to overcome to lose all the weight that I've lost. I'll go over some statistics here in just a few moments, but you'll see some of these pictures from my history of having been super morbidly obese and having gone through a lot of different ways that I've tried to lose weight and have been unsuccessful up until my recent successful weight loss surgery and turning to athletics as a way to kind of continue that weight loss journey and stay in a maintenance mode kind of shape here. So, so like I was saying, let me kind of go back. Sometimes these controls are a little hard to do when you're live. So I appreciate your patience here. Let me bring myself back on the screen. And I have my little studio cam so you can see what's going on behind the screen. And what I wanted to start out with is, like I mentioned, is I started out at quite a heavy weight. I started out at 472 plus pounds. I know that at various points in my life, I was far greater than 472 pounds, and I have some pictures to prove it. But nonetheless, the first recorded weight that I had when I went to the doctor's office, when I was going through the process for weight loss for the surgery that I had, I was clinically diagnosed as super morbidly obese. I had always heard the term obese or overweight, or, when I was growing up, I always said I was big boned. But hearing the term super morbidly obese with a BMI of greater than 72% really kind of startles you into action. So I decided, and really through one of the guests that I have on here was one of the inspiring people who helped me move forward with my surgery. But I decided to go with the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, September 2016. My lowest weight since surgery was 178 pounds, and that was at the peak of my training for my triathlons that I was doing last summer. I've since put on a little bit of that COVID weight, if you will, and I've also been injured, so there's been a little less focus on the weight, but it does, it's like muscle memory being able to come back. Most patients who go through gastric sleeve are expected to lose, on average, about 60% of their excess body weight. To date, I've lost 95% of my excess body weight. I know when I went to see my physician during some of my checkups after I had successfully lost a lot of my weight, he looked at me and he said, you're skinnier than I am. And I need to start doing something to control my weight because I'm starting to get a little bit heavy now. And he said that a lot of the patients who went through the surgery in roughly the same time period that I did in 2016 were already starting to gain weight back because they lacked the motivation and the sense of self-control to be able to put down the fork or to walk away or to effectively manage their portions. One of the things that is most disconcerting is that 70% of the patients that undergo weight loss surgery are women. Now, that's a good thing in that women are feeling comfortable about going through weight loss surgery. But my goal through this channel, in addition to really talking through what it's like for me or what it has been like for me to lose weight through weight loss surgery, is to inspire other men to take action on their lives and to be around for the duration of their life and help their family by being there for their family. And we're going to talk to someone whose husband I have been working with off and on over the last few years and talking to him. And he's actually got a date scheduled for surgery. So not only has she been successful, but he's looking to join her in her journey as well. So there's some pretty exciting things. I decided to start this YouTube channel because, as you see from some of the research that I performed, social media really can provide that avenue for sharing personal information and social support and help connect us for through this, because you're not alone. And when I was going through this, in many ways, I felt alone, except for, I had the support structure around me with my family, but I definitely felt alone many times, because when you're going through something as personal as weight loss, it's really hard to be vulnerable with other people. And as I was talking with one of the guests before the show, as we were in our pre-show, um, sometimes when you're heavy and you're expected to be the life of the party because you're the big guy in the room, and so you take up the most amount of space, and so people see you more easily. I'm an outgoing, very extroverted type person, and so for me that was fairly natural. And you kind of put on a happy face and you play the game. But there are certainly times where you feel like, man, the next piece of food that I put in my mouth, how many people are looking at me going, gosh, how much more food is that guy going to eat before he explodes? So you kind of get those self-conscious feelings when you're dealing with trying to lose weight. And that is certainly something that I did. So I wanted to show you what the gastric sleeve surgery really is. And so this video kind of gives you a sense of what the sleeve gastrectomy is, right? So it cuts off through using a staple to cut out 80% of your stomach, and essentially restricts you to about 150 millimeters or so of ability to have food in your stomach or liquids in your stomach. And then they just pull the rest of it out, right? They have holes that they put in you using instruments, and then they pull that out. So, pardon me, I stop that. But it's really amazing what they are able to do in laparoscopic procedures to be able to pull out your stomach through a tiny little hole and then create this tool. And one of the most important things that my physician told me as I was going through weight loss surgery is he said, you know what, Randy? He said, one of the things that I need you to understand is that weight loss surgery it's a tool, right? It's not a panacea. It's not something that is a quick fix. It's not easy. Weight loss surgery is not the easy button. It's not the easy pill. Weight loss surgery really is all about trying to find a tool that can help you control yourself, and then using that tool effectively throughout your life. And honestly, that's what I've tried to do. I've not been perfect at it. Everyone has a different way of doing things, and I certainly haven't been perfect at it. But I try to do my best with that tool to make sure that I'm constantly focused on that. So let me bring up that presentation again and tell you a little bit more about some of the things that I use for successful weight loss. Food measurement. Sometimes even my wife, who is watching today, she'll tell me, don't you know what 4 ounces looks like yet? And you know what? I do, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I meticulously measure every single thing I eat every single day. Now, mind you, I had weight loss surgery in 2016. It is now 2020. So I'm almost 4 years out from surgery. To date, I weigh everything I eat. In fact, for lunch today, I had 4 ounces of steak. I had approximately 3 ounces of grilled zucchini. So I know what I'm eating. I know what I'm putting in my body, but importantly, I need to be able to use something to track all of that uh, consumption of food. And so for me, I use MyFitnessPal, because for me, that really, really works. And you can see, this was a screenshot captured today. You can see that I have logged my food every day for 1,447 days. 1,400 days I've logged my food every single day. I've not had perfect days, but I log everything. The reason I log everything is because I'm accountable for me. And I can always look back and see, okay, I gained 5 pounds during this 3 weeks. Well, what did I do differently versus the previous 3 weeks? Another tool that I use is Strava. So because I'm in the sport of triathlon now, I use Strava to record all of my activities, right? You see my bike behind me, right? I don't just have that here just for a prop. I use this bike regularly in preparation for triathlons. Last year, as you can see up on the board, I participated not only in 6 triathlons, but I also participated in a variety of other events, including my first half marathon, several 5Ks, and some turkey trots that was 8 miles long. So I'm doing something constantly to ensure that I'm being successful with my weight loss. One of the other things that I do is protein supplements. My favorite brand is Quest Nutrition. In fact, I love Quest so much, they made me an ambassador. So I routinely get free stuff. So you can see I have these chips, all kinds of chips here. Every single morning, I'm drinking this shake pretty much every morning. There are times that I have eggs or something along those lines. And I have my Quest protein bars, right? In addition to my Quest protein bars, when I have a pretty good day, I have my Quest cookies. So I am all in on Quest. I don't make any money by hawking Quest. I love Quest, and I'm proud to be a part of a brand ambassador for that company. Plus, I mean, they send me free stuff and they give me a nice discount. One of the other things that I do is I take a bariatric vitamin, and that literally is a company that I use, Berry Nutrition. I take their mega vitamin every single day, and I have for 4 years. Well, for almost 4 years, since it's not quite the 4-year mark. And you know what? Yes, it's a horse pill. Yes, it's inconvenient, but you know what? I'm being sure that based on my doctor and the information that they've provided to me, that I am able to take a vitamin supplement just to ensure, since I'm not able to consume as much food as the average person, that I'm getting all the proper vitamins and minerals and nutrients in my body. And last but not least is a physical weight scale. And yes, that is the exact scale that I use near daily. Now, some might say it's kind of crazy that you're going to weigh yourself every single day. And I probably don't weigh myself every single day, but most days. And the reason I do that is because then I can be accountable to me. I can say, okay, the decisions that I made yesterday affected me in this way. I think doing it once a week is probably enough. And if you're in a true maintenance phase, perhaps every 2 weeks is enough, just to make sure that you're accountable for you. Because at the end of the day, that's the only person that you're really accountable to, you and yourself. I wanted to provide this slide here simply because it gives you a better idea of exactly what it is that I am using for my food intake. And you can see based on your screen that for breakfast, I have a Quest protein shake. For lunch, grilled chicken, probably some, probably with my grilled chicken, I have some, what do you call it? Jalapenos and some sour cream, and then I have my snacks. You see my Quest protein stuff there, and for dinner I have largely the same thing or some other protein. It's a lot of protein. I take in about 120 to 130 grams of protein just about every single day. So it's something that I try to do fairly religiously. If you want to use, probably a terrible phrase, but nonetheless, that's what I do. So my life has been so much better now that I have been living in this way, this method of eating properly, losing weight, participating in the sport of triathlon. I never would have imagined that I would be in the sport of triathlon. If you would have told me 2 years ago, 3 years ago that I'm in the sport of triathlon, I would have said, "You're crazy. You're just absolutely nuts to think that I would even consider swimming, biking, and running." For those of you that aren't aware, it's swimming, biking, and running. You swim, depending on the distance. You swim, you bike, and then you run, and in that order. Unfortunately, it looks like most of my guests have somehow disappeared from the live stream. So I'm going to have to switch some things around here very, very quickly. I did have 3 guests, but we might have to trim that down based on the fact that they have unfortunately dropped off. Probably some technical difficulties here, but it looks like he's back. All right, so he is back, thankfully. And let me add the studio cam there because I love studio cam, don't you? All right, so without further ado, I wanted to bring in this guy. He has been my best friend for many, many years. I met him in 1998 when I started working at a company in Maryland. And Dave lost over 40 pounds going through gastric vertical sleeve gastrectomy himself. And this was a picture of us years ago when we were visiting together and having lunch. And this is a picture of him and I just last week, this picture. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to bring on my friend, David Peter. Dave? Oh, hold on. Let me figure this out here. There we go. Now, there we go. This one will be better. Let me get rid of Studio Cam. And there we go. There's David Peter. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you, I have a terrible connection, and it's not your fault, it's mine, but I'll do the best I can.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's awesome that you're able to join me, because one of the things that I said in the very first part of the broadcast is, Dave, you really kind of forced my hand when it came to doing the weight loss surgery. I was very tentative. I didn't want to do it. And a lot of the reason, and I didn't want to get emotional, but my mom died shortly after weight loss surgery. So for me to overcome that was a very difficult thing. And
absolutely.
And you really helped propel me through that and walk me through that. For years, you simply said, you know what, this is for you, and you've got to find a way back. And thankfully, I was able to do that. And I'm forever grateful for that part that you played. Sorry.
Go
ahead.
It's okay. I feel like we entered this journey together, because I struggled tremendously with my weight for many, many years. And yeah, I definitely encouraged you to do it. There was a radio show of Dr. Gabe Merkin, and he would always tell his audience that if you are over, say, 75 pounds overweight, that kind of thing, you are a very good candidate for the weight loss surgery. It's just so difficult to do it without the surgery. But he also used the word that you used. It's a tool. It's a tool to change your life. And let's face it, we both needed that tool.
Yeah. And so when you decided to go through with it, I really wasn't sure that you needed to do it. And, I'll be honest with you, there are times even today that I kind of chide you, where I say, Dave, are you using the tool? So why don't we talk about that just a little bit? Because, you've got a lot going on in your life, and sometimes even myself, we let other things get in the way of the things that we have going on. So for you, how do you overcome the temptation to set aside the tool and not use it?
So I just want to go back to something you just said and correct you a little bit, if that's okay. You're right. My BMI, I can't remember, was it either 33 or 35, and I was borderline. The guy said I didn't really qualify for the surgery, but I did have compensating factors. So high blood pressure, sleep apnea, cholesterol issues, things like that. And so with those compensating factors, they approved me. But it's important to note that I weighed in at 293 when I had my surgery, right? But that's not where the story ends. I was gaining weight, right? So I was going in the wrong direction. Yeah. And God knows where I would have been without the surgery. And so I was sort of getting ahead of the train as best I could. It's just what I had to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot your question.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, really, at the end of the day, you have been successful, and you and I joke around with you
Yeah.
because you're not a fan of stepping on the scale. You gauge your weight loss by how you feel in your clothes, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And I think even myself, there are times that I gauge my weight loss by the clothes that I wear, and sometimes I go, okay, I need to cut out some of the snacks here and focus on making sure that I'm doing the protein stuff right, and not, and getting rid of the pretzels and those kind of things. So yeah, I know that sometimes it can be a challenge.
Indeed, indeed, and yeah, you're right. I go by my waist size generally. Sometimes I'm like Fred G. Sanford. I'll put my pants, below my belly, and then say, "Oh, okay, I'm on the second loop, so I'm okay," that kind of thing. So I
Right.
cheat a little bit, but listen, I hate exercise, and I don't know, just who I am these
There
days, I
there are
guess,
very
getting
few
older.
people who actually love exercise, but I know that I've kind of grown to love the exercise that I do participate in. So yeah. So last question I have for you, Dave, and then I'll let you go. Is I know one
Sure.
of the things
Hmm.
that one of the reasons why I brought you on, in addition to kind of publicly thanking you for the inspiration that you've been to me, is um, I feel like, there are some things that I did that I had a hand in you having your surgery. And would you tell me in, 20, 30 seconds if there was any way that I impacted you in your decision, or did I impact you in any way after you had the surgery?
Okay, I'm terribly sorry I didn't get that question.
Uh, how did I impact or influence you to have the surgery and keep going with the, keep working?
So, yeah, when I think I got my surgery about a year after you had yours, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely in that time, I saw the things that you were doing, and I just thought it would be the right fit for me. So, I spoke to my doctor, and I actually told him about you and your success. And that was, I have no regrets whatsoever. None. Um,
No, that's
but
good.
fast forward to, what's that?
I just was acknowledging.
Fast forward to today, you are definitely a guy who tries to hold my feet to the fire, tries to get me to weigh myself and exercise and get active. And I admit I don't do those things, but it's good to have someone to communicate with and to encourage you and to push you. And I need that kick in the pants once in a while to
Well, that's something you
maybe
can
one
count
day
on
it'll
me
stick.
forever. Yeah, someday. But I'll keep harping on you every time I can. But thank you so much, Dave. I appreciate your time and appreciate your friendship.
Take care now.
All right. All right. So that was my friend David Peter, like I said, and I have another friend who I went to high school with. I went to middle school with, and we actually talked about we went to competing elementary schools. But Chrissy was someone that I was actually kind of talking with her husband and trying to get him to consider weight loss surgery. Well, he was really interested in my success, right? And so he was asking me questions about the weight loss surgery. And so um, I developed a strong friendship with him in addition to my lovely friend Chrissy. And so I'll bring Chrissy on without further ado. And Chrissy, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Well, hold on, let me hit the right button here. There we go.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I'm super glad that you're able to join. And Chrissy, it's a stunning transition for you. And actually let me go to, I mean, obviously we see you live now, but your before and after pictures are just, just a crazy incredible, right? You put them side by side and just go, wow, because your son is just not that much older between those two pictures and the stunning success that you've had.
That's just months. That's
Yeah.
actually from May to July.
Wow, that is so amazing. And you are almost at 100 pounds lost. How does it feel?
It's amazing. I still look at clothes and think, that's not going to fit me. That's going to be too small, but they fit.
Yeah.
So I feel great. It's amazing.
That's really fantastic. From a weight loss perspective, what did you find was the hardest thing to change once you decided to go through with the surgery?
For me, the hardest thing to change was that my family was still eating all those yummy foods. So I would get a little cranky, and oh my gosh, my cat just ran across the front of me. I would get a little cranky at Dave and James because I would have those cravings and I'd want those things. But over time, it got a little bit easier. And now berries and fruit actually taste like candy to me. So everything's changed.
Yeah, I know that one of the things that happened to me as I was going through the process, I lost my desire for sweet stuff.
Yes.
Like literally. And the funniest part about it is that when I started, I actually said the one thing I don't want to do is to lose my desire for cake, for pie, because those are the things that I absolutely loved. And I just didn't want to lose the desire for those. And I did.
I know.
And now, honestly, over the last probably 6 to 9 months, I kind of redeveloped some taste for them. But I've learned that, I can actually control it a little bit better. I mean, I have my days where I just go, whew, I really want to take part in that. But, I'm trying to stay focused and stay straight and those kinds of things. But, I have my days. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I find that if they have pizza, I'll take a little bite of pizza. And it's like, it does not taste as good as I thought that was going to taste. Or
yeah,
they're eating a cookie, or, Dave might have got Chinese food and I take a bite and I think all I taste is the grease. How did I like this before? So
exactly.
And like I did.
Similarly, when I came back to visit, so I, for those that are listening that aren't aware, I used to live in Texas prior to moving back to Ohio, which is where I grew up. I would come back and after 3 years of having lost, near 275 pounds or so at the time, I decided to go to one of my favorite old haunts when I was a kid. And that was Biagio's Donuts and Pizzeria, which I'm sure you know well, Chrissy.
Absolutely.
And
good anymore.
and I tried it, and I actually did a live stream on Facebook just for fun. And I'm like, none of it tasted good.
No.
None of it. I was just like, no, the one thing I loved as a kid, I don't like. But, in the last 4 months since moving back to Ohio, I've definitely had my share, and I've redeveloped some taste for Biagio's because it's just so good.
It is. But I'm still at the point where all I taste is the grease, and I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. But now, our favorite Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
So if I do fast food, I can do their grilled nuggets or their salad, and then
that's what I do. If I'm out on travel for work, as for those that aren't aware, I travel frequently for work, and so I'll go to the Chick-fil-A and I'll get my 8-count of nuggets and get my barbecue sauce and dinner.
Exactly.
And that's if I can get all 8 down.
Yeah, no, I can't yet. I'm only 5 months out. So yeah, I'm only 5 months out.
5 months out. And I think, one of the things you told me before was that we actually have some good news. And that is that Dave is going to be having his surgery here not too long.
September 11th. It's actually 6 months to the day of mine. Mine was March 11th. So
oh, how funny. That's going to be a nice little anniversary that you guys can celebrate with him being under the knife, so to speak.
I just can't wait for him to do his 2 weeks of liquid diet because
yeah, I mean, so talk about that. That was the hardest part, especially before. Now you're talking about after the surgery or before? Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, same here. I was actually on a work trip where we had a catered meal and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, give me my shake and I'm going to, I can't have that.
Nope. Oh, you're frozen.
Oh, are you back? Am I back? All right, good.
I made
all
Jello
right,
jigglers. I made sugar-free Jello jigglers. Those got me through. It was, those 2 weeks were awful.
Yeah, well, and then you have the after surgery. The first 2 weeks is nothing but shakes again, and then the next 2 weeks is soft foods, and then and then you can move your way in. It's just the process of coming after surgery is not the most fun, but the
No.
benefits far
Oh.
outweigh any negatives once you get to it.
I remember begging my nutritionist to let me have a vegetable. I'm like, please, let me have.
And please don't blend it.
Right.
Don't blend the vegetable. I don't want some V8 juice. If I wanted V8 juice, I'd go buy it. Ugh.
She did let me. I progressed pretty quick, but
did you really?
I did. She just said, let it, try it and try little bits. And if it doesn't work, then stop. And I did okay. I had the full bypass though. I didn't do the sleeve.
Oh, you did the full bypass. Okay. So for you, it's even more interesting because with the, what I decided for the gastric sleeve was I didn't want to reroute any plumbing because with the bypass, as you know well, you're literally moving things around so that way you don't have the ability to absorb as many nutrients and as many calories to what you're taking in.
Right. Correct. Yeah. My doctor at Cleveland Clinic recommends for my age and for longevity that was the better option. So I have way more vitamins to take.
Yeah, I imagine.
But yeah.
But hey, you're
in the full too.
He's getting the full too. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad that I'm going to be around here to see it. And when I, perhaps Dave can be a guest and you can be a guest again on my show as we go on and on your anniversary for him going in. Maybe we can do a live stream during his surgery. No, I'm kidding. Maybe not.
In the waiting room, I'll take the camera in.
There we go.
Do a live stream when he's all healed up and feeling
cool.
better.
Well, we'll definitely plan that. Thanks, David, for doing that or being willing to do that. So, last question I have for you, Chrissy, and then I'll let you go because I know you've hung around for quite some time now. In what way? And this is same question that I asked David. In what way, if any, did you feel that my success impacted you in your decision to move forward with surgery, or at least in your decision to even consider it?
Well, I followed you on, we've been friends for years and we were Facebook friends, and I started watching your journey and it just blew me away. And Dave reached out to you and he's like, do you care if I send him a message? And I said, so you guys started talking, and then you guys were talking, and I thought, well, I'm way overweight too. Why don't I look into this? So I looked into, the weight loss surgery just because of your success. And I got approved. And even you, like you said to your friend, you were shocked that I qualified.
Yeah.
And I had apnea. I didn't have high blood pressure, but I had the apnea. My BMI was well over 40. I was high. So I did qualify. And just your motivation with Dave and everything you would say to him. And then you and I started talking about it, and you were great pep talk. You were great giving me pep talks. Really helped.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, I'm super glad that I had, even a little bit to do with it. And, just really glad that you were able to do it, because I think that, it's going to benefit you for the long term. And I'm super stoked and super happy to see you even happier now than you were before.
Well, like you said, I lost my mom when I was 21. She was only 43. And I don't want my son to have to go through that because I died of obesity or something related to it. So that really is what kicked me in the butt. Like, I'm 46. I'm way overweight. Like, I think it's time. I don't want that. He's only 14. I don't want him to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
Your trickle down, a friend of mine has seen me, and she actually has surgery on September 15th. So it's
wow.
To another person. So we'll get hurt next time too.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's plan that.
For sure.
So thank you so much, Chrissy. I appreciate your time and look forward to, keeping up with you as well.
For sure. I'm going to keep watching. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So next up, I have a friend of mine that I've been friends with him for several years. We work together. Like I said, I travel all over. So he and I have had some fun working and doing some spice challenges where he loves hot foods. And so we did a spice challenge, and he is here now. Finally, he's been having some connection difficulties. So I've added him in. And Ryan, you have lost over 100 pounds since having weight loss surgery. And it sounds like he might still be having some issues with his internet there. Ryan, can you hear me? Well, this is what happens when you do it live, right? You never know what you're going to get. And so it does sound like Ryan is ultimately not going to be able to join us, but at least you can see his picture there. And, so actually, Chrissy, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring you back on because there's a question for you. I see you're getting up, or if you're okay to come back. All right, let me bring you back here real quick. And I'm going to add you to the stream. I'm going to remove this. And Kelly Allen has a question for you. And she's wanting to know, so did insurance cover the cost of surgery?
Sure. Insurance did cover my surgery. And since Ryan left too, Dave said he'd be willing to jump on. And
okay.
Anyways, so Kelly, mine is covered. Dave's, he has to pay out of pocket $4,000. But we have different insurance. But I know my other friend who's getting hers done, she has her primary and a secondary insurance, so hers is covered too. So if you have the maladies, usually most of it's covered.
Yeah, I know for myself, the surgery cost for me was covered by and large by my insurance company. And the company that I worked with, I had a $6,000 deductible that I had to meet. And so I ended up paying $6,000 out of pocket, but
I
also
that on food.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. All that extra food. In addition to that, though, I ended up having to have a hiatal hernia done. So in addition to my surgery, I had a hiatal hernia, and the doctor, he didn't want to do them both at the same time because he felt it was too risky at almost 500 pounds to go under for that long.
Right.
So, that made it more challenging. And it was funny because I did it in September, apparently there's some arcane insurance rules that you can't do surgery more than 90 days or less than 90 days between surgeries, unless it's an emergency.
Oh.
And so they had to schedule it out 91 days, and it was December 28th.
Oh my gosh.
So I got in just under the wire to not have to go through that insurance thing again. So I'm going to pull you out again because I think Ryan's here. Let me see. No, I think Ryan's done. We tried, Ryan, and certainly appreciate your willingness to try. We were fine earlier. Oh wait, he's back. Wait, let's see if we can get him. He's gone again. It's almost like fishing, right? You're pulling on the and then you pull up a tire. So apparently I'm just not sure that that's going to work. But if Dave is willing to come on, certainly be love to talk with him real quick. And then if Ryan can hold a connection for longer than a few minutes.
Hello.
Hey, David. Good to see you, man.
This is the before picture.
Right. The live before picture. Who knew? Wow. It's really good to see you. I'm really super glad that you are approved for surgery. And, all of our conversations over the last, year and a half have proven to be successful for you to, give you some motivation to seek out that surgery. And I'm sure that Chrissy's success has motivated you even more in your quest.
It's really been a trip. When I contacted you, I liken it to, I was never an alcoholic or a drug addict, but I liken it to that kind of situation. I felt when I approached you, she had always been telling me about Randy, and I saw you on Facebook and saw the actual, response to the surgery. I saw the before. We knew you well before the surgery, and then what was happening after.
Yeah.
I kind of hit what I felt was like a rock bottom when I wrote you. I didn't write anyone else. I wrote you. And it was it was a touching moment. I believe it was later in the evening. And it brought me to tears when I was basically crying out to you to help me. And that's when you got me started. Even after we talked, it took a long time to me trying to do things myself. And I just wanted one last attempt at trying to do it before a major event such as surgery. And finally, I've just, acquiesced and saw Chrissy's great achievements. But I was in on the surgery before she had her surgery.
Right.
Because I had to do 6 months. I think she was less, but anyway, it's because of you that we went down this road.
Well, that's I appreciate those kind words. I mean, when I met you in person, it was even more impactful to me. To have that conversation with you and meet you for real, right? And are you still chowing down on those Quest bars?
Yes, we have 4 boxes.
Nice.
In the other room in there, and Chrissy just grabbed one for work today.
Well, have you seen the new ones?
No,
I don't know if you can see it. It's the Hero chocolate peanut butter.
Oh my God!
And it's basically.
I want the lemon.
So I have a box of lemon coming, and I will make sure that. In fact, I got a notification that FedEx has shipped it. So as I mentioned earlier on, I'm an ambassador for Quest, so they send me free stuff all the time. So I have a free box of lemon Quest bars coming, and I'll make sure I get you a couple. And I'll give you a couple of these because these were free too. So every time they get something new, I end up getting a box or 2 of them, and I can share. I'm happy to share. So yeah, and then actually, when I order, I don't know where you're ordering them from. If you're still ordering them from Kmart or Walmart or whatever, I get a 30% discount from Quest.com. So if you want to order them when I order my monthly supply, I can connect you on that. It saves a bunch of money. I've even gone so far as I have their pizza now, and their pizza is phenomenal. Wow. At least phenomenal as far as pizza can be for protein pizza, right? It gives you that feeling like you've had pizza. So I do enjoy that.
So we want to thank you. And turning us on to Quest too. That was a big part of it. But I've been going on kind of wrongly to the program, but I've been on what they call a food funeral here, trying to get some of my favorite Biaggios and some of the favorite restaurants before I start my 2 weeks of deliciousness here on the 28th, and then September 11th is the.
Wow, that is not too far away. You're 9 days away.
Chomping at the bit. I can't wait.
9 days. All right. Well, hey, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much, David, for stepping in. And Chrissy, just really appreciate you guys a lot.
No, thank you. We'll get together soon.
Great luck on the show.
Thank you very much, guys. All right. So I don't think that we're going to be able to get my friend Ryan back, but he certainly has been successful in his surgery. And so I guess right now what I will do is I will simply open it up for questions. So the chat is open, and it has been open the whole time, and I haven't been able to monitor it too close, but I'd love to know what kind of questions that you guys might have about weight loss surgery, about losing weight, or any of the things that I did to be successful. I'd love to be able to answer them live and provide you some insight into how I've worked. I know that one of the things that I'm dealing with right now is I have an injured back, so I haven't been able to do a whole lot of exercising, unfortunately. Well, I haven't been able to do any exercising, and it's a very good chance that I might end up having to have back surgery. So I've been struggling with that for the past few months since middle of June. So I haven't been able to do a whole lot, but I have been able to, effectively lose weight when I've needed to. Like I said, I put on that COVID-20, so to speak, and I've put it all down. So one of the questions that just came up by RC Previtt is, was I in any pain? And the answer to that question is actually pretty simple. After the surgery, there really wasn't a lot of pain. Some people have different experiences, but I never was really in a lot of pain. I know that initially, obviously you have a lot of medicine flowing through your body. I can't remember quite exactly all the different medicines that I had, but they put me on medicine and they gave me, I think, Percocet or something for 2 weeks after the surgery. And I took it for 2 days and I was like, I don't like it, and it didn't make me feel too good. So I just stopped taking it. And, at the end of the day, it didn't really do much for me. And so I really wasn't in need of pain medication. And, maybe when I pushed on my stomach, that provided a little bit of pain, but actual aching pain, I really didn't have much of anything. Ben Yarborough asked, how do you track BMI? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my feelings about BMI. I don't trust it. BMI is essentially not something that is accurately measuring your actual health, because all it is statistical measurements of the circumference of your waist to and how much you weigh versus how much someone in some office in the government says that you should weigh. And so by that virtue, I just generally don't trust it. Not because it's the government or anything. I'm not like a government conspiracy theorist or anything crazy like that. But in general, it's not an accurate measure or representation. What I've done is I've done this thing called BOD pod. And through the BOD pod, it actually takes a thoracic gas measure of the amount of fat in your body and helps you determine what your muscle mass is, what your bone density is, and how much extra water and fat is on your body. So I discovered through the BOD pod program that my actual body weight should be about 162 pounds, 162 to 163 pounds. And so I won't be able to get there without some skin reduction surgery. So right now I have, some extra pockets of skin around my stomach and around my thighs. And, you can probably see it pretty well here under my underarm. Essentially, those types of things make it difficult to, they don't make it difficult for me to do much of anything except for get that extra 5 to 10 pounds of weight out of my body. So my lowest weight that I said was 178. Right now I'm just about 200 because like I said, that whole COVID thing, and I'm working on trying to get the rest of that off. But the lack of ability to exercise, makes it a little bit more challenging. Joseph Greer asks, how long were you out of work? And I was out of work, I think 2 days. And then I went right back to work. Granted, I work in an office job and I don't do physical heavy lifting or anything like that where I had to do anything. I know that I was required because they punctured through my stomach, the stomach muscles, to not lift anything heavy for what I think 4 weeks, over 10 pounds. So outside of that, there really weren't any restrictions. And so I was only out of work for just a couple of days, and it really wasn't very long. As far as the hospital, I was there for one night. I didn't even want to be there for one night, but they said it was just out of an abundance of caution. And so, I was able to get home. And, I know most people in this podcast have probably been in a surgery for some reason or another and had to stay the night. And it is the most awful thing. You think it's going to be a vacation. They come in and they wake you up. They take your vital signs. I mean, it is not a vacation. It is not fun. You are bothered. There's so many beeps and so many noises. I wanted to get out of that hospital as fast as I could. And this was pre-COVID. So I can't even imagine what people, going through now during the COVID and all the different things that they have to do for that. So yeah, no, I was not in the hospital for very long at all. Thankfully, I got out pretty quickly. What other questions might I be able to answer here? Enjoy the silence. Well, I don't see any more questions, so let me do something real quick here, and I will just say thank you for joining. I had intended. It looks like Brian may be here. Ryan, are you there? Ryan, are you there? One last attempt. Ryan, are you there? Sadly, another attempt thwarted, but we do have another question. How do you stay disciplined in your diet during the holiday, Thanksgiving to New Year's? That is a very, very good question. Appreciate that. And I would say up until this last year, that was super, super easy. I had my turkey. I had, maybe a little bit of mashed potatoes and maybe a little bit of corn, just enough to say I had a taste. And that was pretty much it. So for me, not everybody has the same tenacity that I do. And I admit that, or I can accept that, right? There are times that I can just literally eat the same exact thing every single day, every single meal, and have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. I'm pretty boring that way. There are times that I have to have something different, something extra. And, I got to do something different. And so I do. But by and large, through the holidays, it's really just no big deal because most of our holidays are around protein. And at the end of the day, the successful person having weight loss surgery is typically going to be in a low glycemic, high protein, or keto-like type of diet for the rest of their life. It doesn't mean that you can't introduce fruits. It doesn't mean that you can't introduce vegetables. It's just being mindful of how much of those things that you consume. And so for me, it's really just been being mindful. And when I do have those couple of days where I'm snacking heavy or I'm eating the things that I shouldn't, it's just really refocusing and re-energizing on being doing the right thing with the way that I eat. So David Peter asked, does a sleeve revision procedure exist in the event that additional weight loss isn't needed? So if I understand your question correctly, I think your earlier question is probably what you were trying to ask. Yes, if you have had the gastric sleeve, you can have a revision if for some reason the doctor chose not to remove 80% of your stomach. Some doctors choose to do less. Some doctors choose to do more. And also my doctor told me, he said, one of the things that he chooses to do is there's this little piece that they put at the top of your stomach, and it filters for it. I'm not exactly sure of all the technical details, but it does some sort of filter, and it doesn't allow certain amounts of food to come down. Like it helps balance the amount of food. And there are certain ways that you can control that, and you can put a smaller one in, or you can put a wider one in, or a natural one in. And my doctor told me that he chooses not to do one of those narrow, more restrictive ones, because at the end of the day, he wants me to be able to eat normal and let it be a tool. Those people who have gastric bypass in the Roux-en-Y, they tend to have more issues with eating because there's this dumping syndrome that if you eat too much too fast, you tend to have the feeling to want to throw up, those kinds of things. So yes, there is a revision possibility if for some reason your doctor didn't cut off enough of your stomach. Or I'll be honest with you, there is a way that you could continue to eat and cause your stomach to expand. One of the reasons why I was so heavy was I continued to eat and allow my stomach to expand. And so I was able to eat more than perhaps I should. And you can do that. And you can take away the benefits of the restrictive stomach by eating too much and allowing your stomach to expand. Good question. I'm glad you asked it. Any more questions before I call it an evening here? All right. Well, having no questions, I will simply say thank you so much for joining. I believe this was very, very fun for me. I hope it was informative, inspiring for you, and that hopefully someday, if for some reason you are a person who is considering weight loss surgery, reach out to me. If you know me personally, or if you don't know me personally, reach out through the page. I will be more than happy to interact with you and provide you additional information, guidelines, anything that I can do to help you consider changing your life for the better. Because I know that my life right now is better than it ever has been, partially because of my ability to stick with it and lose 95% of my excess weight, but just the wonderful people that I have surrounding me and spurring me on and helping me achieve the things that I've been able to achieve. So with that, I bid adieu and join me for my next broadcast. Thank you.